video. We are called to be a part of God's great adventure through Jesus Christ. This is the first Sunday of Advent, as we have said, the Sunday of hope. And both of our scripture texts this morning come out of times again when people needed hope for a new day. Isaiah is writing to a people in exile. The text in chapter 40 is part of the second Isaiah, as it's called, and has a much more comforting tone than the first set of chapters. And it reminds me of what people have been saying about how shaming people into wearing masks just doesn't work. No matter how defiant one is, we are still all deep down scared. Let's face it. We're sick of the bad news, but denying it won't make it go away. So comfort is where Isaiah goes, just as the time when the people were in exile and they weren't in their homes and they weren't able to live like they used to and they weren't able to be with the people that they loved. So Isaiah turns to comfort. God is giving us hope for tomorrow. Speak tenderly. Understand one another's deep pain that comes out in strange ways that we sometimes ourselves don't fully comprehend. Show mercy and grace to each other. When we begin to listen, we begin to understand where people are coming from. I just had this conversation with someone just really recently that everybody's in a different place with the whole COVID thing, right? To just try to hear each other's pain. Try to be motivated to do the right thing for each other, even if they feel differently about things than you do. Mark's gospel was the first of the four gospels to come out, and it's also the shortest. And he gets right to the action-packed narrative of Jesus' transformative ministry, this adventure that God put us on through Jesus. There's no time for birth narratives here. The gospel writer jumps right in, dragging us all into the narrative. That's one of the things, again, I enjoyed most about this Advent season is taking that time to prepare, that it's a journey. In the video, right, he said, every good story includes a journey. And, for a lot of us, we haven't been journeying very far from our homes lately, have we? But at the same time, we have that longing, don't we, to do that, to just, we were talking about this yesterday. We took food out to somebody in need, and as we were driving back, we said, you know what, let's just keep on driving, because there's something in there in all of us, isn't there, of an adventurous spirit to do a road trip and just kind of see where life takes you. And that's, again, one of the exciting journeys then that we can go on to, maybe not as exciting as Disney World or Vegas, but much more satisfying, correct? Because it's a journey to get to know Jesus even better and to get to know ourselves and those around us even better on this Advent journey. In our gospel reading, John the Baptist is not only blazing new paths, but is warning of even more unsettling and upside-down journeys for life. Make way for the baptizing of the Spirit. Make way. Meaning get out of the way. Get out of your way. Because sometimes we can be our own worst enemies, can't we? Make yourself ready because God is about to do something you didn't expect. Make way. Get out of your own way. Just allow yourself to be changed. Remember from Alexander, I preached on this a couple weeks ago, from Alexander Hamilton. The world turned upside down, right? That Jesus just totally turned over all the preconceived notions of what a ruler would be looking like. Because here we see Jesus out in the wilderness among the wild animals, and angels take care of him. And again, here's another word of hope. Can we see those who attend to us in so many ways? Can we see God's presence never abandons us, never leaves us alone in the dangers of the world? And can we see the call to be those angels to others, ourselves? Well, I had mentioned earlier, each week of Advent, we're We're going to be focusing on a particular movie that I would really encourage you to watch if you can during the week before the next, so between tonight, today, and next Sunday. And most of these are pretty readily available. And if people are watching these videos, I would love for us to get together in a Zoom meeting after the last movie, so it'd be towards the end of December. And maybe just get together as a Zoom meeting and just talk about our experiences with these movies. But again, each one of them features the restorative and healing nature of music. And through that, the hope of Christ's love, again, and transformative power. So today we view together a trailer of a powerful film called Defiant Requiem, in which Jewish prisoners turn to music as a way of surviving their despair and also naming the evil that perpetrated against them. So I just want to mention from the bat that the movie is available on Amazon Prime Video, and more information will be at the very end of the slide presentations, or at the very end of our live stream today. You can get more information. But from Amazon Prime Video, you can even rent it in different ways, but it is free otherwise if you happen to be a Prime member. And hopefully it's other places too. I'm going to try each week to find multiple places that these videos are available. But if nothing else, we can maybe get together and watch it on a Zoom call too. So if you have trouble, let me know. But first, I wanted to quickly explain the title, Defiant Requiem. For those who are unfamiliar with the term requiem, maybe you've heard it, but you're not quite sure. It's a musical composition using the texts from all or parts of the Catholic Requiem Mass. And again, earlier composers used it just straight from the Catholic Mass, and then composers since then have kind of messed with that a little bit and added different texts in there. But many composers, especially from the classical and the Romantic periods, have written a requiem, including Mozart, Fauré, and Giuseppe Verdi, among others. So Defiant Requiem, that movie, highlights the most dramatic example of intellectual and artistic courage in the Theresienstadt, or the Terezin, concentration camp during World War II. And it's a remarkable story, and again, we can learn from this. I know some of you are like, wait, is this like a movie review? Sort of, in the respect that, again, we can learn from others who have used music and used their strength of will and hope to transform their lives, and not just their lives, but the lives of others. So this is a story about Raphael Schlechter. He was a brilliant young Czech conductor who was arrested and sent to Terezin in 1941. He demonstrated moral leadership under the most brutal circumstances, determined to sustain courage and hope for his fellow prisoners by enriching their souls through great music. His most extraordinary act was to recruit 150 prisoners and teach them Verdi's Requiem by rote. So instead of reading the music, he would play a part and then have them sing it. And we're not just talking one part, we're talking 4 parts. Verdi maybe actually was 6 parts, probably, in parts of it. So he taught this painstakingly in a dank cellar using a single score over multiple rehearsals, and after grueling days of forced labor, they would come together to sing. The Requiem was performed on 16 occasions for fellow prisoners, and the last most infamous performance occurred on June 23, 1944, before high-ranking SS officers from Berlin and the International Red Cross, that they all came and they heard this beautiful music to support the charade that the prisoners were treated well and were flourishing. So again, it sounds like, oh, well, then the evil won. No. You should see, again, how this music was transformed and how they were able to speak through this music. The producers said, with testimony provided by surviving members of Schlechter's choir, soaring concert footage, cinematic dramatization, so they actually took an orchestra there and recorded then, more recently, obviously. And evocative animation, this unique film explores the singer's view of Verdi as a work of defiance and resistance against the Nazis. And I love this line. The text of the Requiem Mass enabled them, as Schlechter told the chorus, to sing to the Nazis what they could not say to them.
I went downstairs and there was a man sitting and she just said, I want to know, do all of you like to sing?
If people are robbed of freedom, they want to be creative, and they were.
Verdi's music is powerful. It represents a threat. And it was a tremendous challenge to have the Germans right there in front of us and tell them to their face.
It was something which made us strong. It has given us a resistance against our fate.
Doing a performance was not entertainment. It was a fight for life.
This Verdi's Requiem put all of us into another world. This was not the world with the Nazis. This was our world.
These were hours of pure joy, as much as you can call joy in camp.
Here they were, surrounded by man's worst, and these Jewish prisoners were determined to remind everyone of man's best. And I brought the Verdi here because I want to assure these people that we've heard them.
I don't think the soul has to be nourished by anything but by heavenly music. The soul doesn't need anything else.
Did you notice the powerful statements about music and the human spirit? And again, maybe you're one of those people that have been, oh, I'm not much into music. But again, I would really encourage you to re-examine that, because I would bet you that's one of the things that, if you don't listen to anything else, that you maybe do listen to Christmas carols and Christmas songs out of the whole year. Maybe that's the one time that music is meaningful to you. And again, I would encourage you to, as you are listening to these songs, to really read and pay attention to the words, because there's so much meaning in that. Music is a catalyst for so many things. The comfort Isaiah speaks of, the hours of pure joy, the presence of community, of angels among us. And again, the quote is, we were not in the Nazis' world, we were in our world. So to be able to just take you away from the world in which you are living right then, and again, that better world is a place where God resides. And the power of music and defiance and agency when there is no other way to respond to such evil. And the quote again from the movie, it gave us strength. We were able to say it to their faces. During this season, instead of mourning that we can't sing closely or be in the sanctuary singing our Christmas carols together, we can raise our appreciation of music in our lives so that when we sing freely again together, it'll be with renewed fervor and conviction. So again, music has always been an important part of my life, and again, I know that's been a big push in this service today. I hope that that's okay, because for me, every bit of music comes from God, and the way that we can glorify God through music, and the way that we can be touched by God through music. So again, not every week's going to be focused so much on this, but I really wanted to hit this home this week. When I was a graduate student, I was in the BGSU chorale, and we sang with the University of Cincinnati chorus one time. And we sang Un Cantate de Noël, so a Christmas cantata by Arthur Honegger. And there were several choirs, not just us, so there were several hundred people, and then the symphony there. And it started out kind of rough. I'll always remember this, because the conductor, there was a kind of a long introduction, and then the conductor forgot to cue us. So we, thankfully, in the alto section, just kind of came in when we were supposed to. And then we're like, oh my gosh, are we in the wrong place? Should we just keep singing or not? And then, yes, oh yeah, right. And again, he was a wonderful conductor. He was just, I'm sure, nervous because he had all these relatively untrained singers that he was dealing with. But anyway, so it put an edge on the performance, let's say. And so the whole performance, I think it's about a 20-minute piece, and by the time finally, maybe halfway or three-quarters of the way, things kind of were like feeling comfortable. Maybe the audience never noticed. I hope they didn't. But as a performer, it was okay. So we could finally just kind of relax a little bit. And it was really the first time that full voice everybody was singing, and the orchestra was there. And so even in rehearsals, we hadn't really had the full experience. And at one point, and I could probably even find the score and point exactly where it was, I just felt closer to God than I have ever felt. And I shouldn't say that. I hadn't felt until that point. And I had been playing in organ since 7th grade in churches. So I certainly had been in churches and found meaningful experiences with the people and all those different things, of course. But there was something about that moment and this beautiful music and the orchestra and these other voices, and we were all singing together. And I have no idea how the people around me felt, if they were in any way spiritual. But I almost believe that you have to be able to sing that kind of music. And literally, I had tears running down my face. And I know I wasn't alone with the singers, and it was just, I still think of that moment. And I've had many moments since then, certainly, obviously, just in life, but also with music. But in particular, that one moment just stands out to me because of just the beauty and the sense of hope, and we all are human beings working together, creating this beautiful piece of music, and it just always just is a very special moment to me. And so I pray again that music, whether you're performing or whether you're just hearing music, put on some headphones, or you're out and about singing to yourself, I just pray that you will allow music to just take you to that heavenly world. That you'll allow music to fill you with hope and conviction. And again, some of these things we know are from some of the movements of people trying to have equality, right? And they sing as part of that. So again, from the scripture that we had read from Isaiah, to not be afraid to speak out. But again, music is such a powerful way that we can use that. We can communicate through scriptures, through prayer, through meditation, through service to others, all those different ways. We know we talk about those all the time. But this Advent, even as things are so different in so many ways, some things remain the same. And again, I pray that music maybe will be a part of your Advent journey. Because we know, again, what does remain the same. Christ is the light of the world, and he walks beside us. And we can walk each day with hope in our hearts. As part of this series, One thing that we're going to be doing is talking about a litany of belief, and I'm actually hoping that some of you might write some of these and would send them my way, either emailing our church office, or if you could do it on Facebook and just type it to us. But it's important, I think, to call out and name and claim consequences of our wrongs, or things that are happening in our world, or things that are a confession, if you will. If times in distress, it's a prophetic act to call out, name, and claim our belief in the hope for tomorrow as well. So if you would, I'd love it if you could follow this format here that you'll see on the screen here now. I believe that, and then fill in the blank with a lament or a sorrow or a confession. And I believe that, and then fill in this blank with a prophetic word of change. And again, I would love for you to share some of these with me. But I'd like to share some while you're kind of looking at the example. I pray that these are meaningful to you too. Again, it's claiming something. I believe that we have looked the other way too many times. And I believe that we are capable of facing reality and working for change. I believe that our fear of difference has robbed us of compassion. And I believe that we can look deeper and hold on to the things that we have in common. I believe that our fear of doubt makes us stop asking tough questions. And I believe that asking tough questions in the face of injustice is faithful. We believe even when we are discouraged. We believe that when we are discouraged, raising our voice for justice and peace will offer us hope. And so that's what I pray comes out of some of these litanies. And so again, we'll just share a few of these. And again, this service is a little bit longer than my usual services, and my other ones will not be. But this is a little bit more of an instructional service as well, so that we can kind of be working together in the coming Advent Sundays.